Scareclaw Kashtira, of all things, smashes out of nowhere to win this Nationals. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. Wow, this is different to be covering today, because winning this Nationals was none other than Scareclaw Kashtira Turbo with Protos and Friends, a full illusion package. We'll talk more about that here in a second. So many pieces moving in that deck. So our highest represented deck was only actually 2 Tempai decks in this top cut, which is actually kind of nice to see a little bit of, you know, a drawback on that. We also had 1 Snake Eyes. I'm not going to take anything away from this. I mean, you have your standard meta competitors here, but the challengers today are, I think, the real heroes of this meta. We also had 1 Voiceless Voice. Well, I mean, that's also a pretty standard day out here. You know, Voiceless still sits on the throne as the pretty intermediate deck of the meta. It's still the 3rd best deck in my personal opinion. But Centurion Melodious. What in the world is the idea behind this deck? Is it just how much cluster value we can kind of stick together out here? You know, it just kind of proves how stupid the Melodious package is, in my opinion, for the splash ability and, you know, being able to kind of set up into some free value. We'll talk more about that here in a second. Okay. We have the Illusion Albaz, so standard Chimera good stuff kind of doing its thing out here. Nothing has really changed on the front of Chimera other than, you know, they got Diablaze, which was honestly a big help for the deck, but it hasn't really made a splash on the super high competitive circuit. It's just a very strong rogue deck sitting here. And then my dear friend Runic is back at it again out here, getting the chance to sit at the dinner table and showcase that we can still do quite an amazing job at the course of the meta. You really love to see it. Let's pass on over to those deck lists. So winning this event is our first place Scareclaw Kashtira Adventure Nemesis Magician Souls package. I would just consider this a good stuff deck at this point. Just, you're taking advantage of all the very strong utility options you have. I mean, this deck also gets the Side and Shifter, which is so stupid to me that you get that level of synergy. But you're just Cherubini access. You have the Apollosa to turbo through. I'm just going to clap for this. I didn't expect to see something that I would consider a modern era pile deck actually kind of come to fruition out here. And the fact that we have something like this as a very strong showcase, I quite like it. I think it's very interesting to see. Will we see, you know, recreations of this? Probably not, but you know what? Protos is a good card. All right. So competing against Protos back here, our second place was actually Tempai Dragon. So unfortunately, you know, if dear old Protos happens to, you know, detonate, a poor little Tempai player ain't gonna get much of a chance to play a game. Trust me. Kind of learned that the hard way. Interesting things about this list. We have the Triple Mourner in here. We still have the Magna Hut. Feather Duster built in. 41 cards is kind of interesting. I do like that. We're not doing any of the reverse OTK lines in here, which is actually pretty good. I mean, we still do see the Striker Dragon. Still do see the SP. I like all that stuff. We're dedicating most of our extra value into kind of cleaning things up. You do see the Koi Belt in there as well. Side deck options, we do have the crossouts. Honestly, kicking those to the side, I personally have liked quite a lot this format. And of course, we have the one-dimensional barrier down there too as well. Hey man, you know, just go ahead and side in the dimensional barrier. If you think they're going to side in, you know, the barrier yourself, just for the crossout, the value. All right, third place out here is actually our Snake Eyes Duelist. In terms of craziness, I mean, you're at 42 cards, nothing too crazy. We're doing the double Flamber's Dragon, which I think has been solidified in stone. Though this build actually made room for the Food Show in the extra deck. I've been seeing a lot of people with very different opinions on the Food Show. I've seen some people toss it into the side deck. I think you have the slot to make the room for the Fucho. I honestly feel like not having the Fucho as an option just kind of hurts. But in this case, if you're going to play against Tenpai, you're able to roll it on out, have that defensive bird there so you can do your thing. I do see we have the anti-spell, we have the dimensional barriers down there on the side. This side deck covers essentially everything that's going to be a problem in the meta. Easy peasy. Hey man, it's the best deck in the room for a reason. Nothing's really changed at all. I'm glad to still see that. Not really, but okay. Hey, we have Fallen of Albaz built into our Voiceless Voice deck. So this is, honestly, this in the Melodious build, I think this build kind of fell off. It has shown up very little, in my opinion, as of late. But okay, obviously we have the Odd Eyes, or the Clearwing. It's the Odd Eyes Clearwing Synchro Dragon down there. For the pendulum scale, we're kind of getting creative out here. I feel like the Odd Eyes Winged Dragon gets tossed around a lot as, something that people don't even really want to try, but it's cute when it actually does come up, especially in a deck like this. Also, full Fallen of Albaz combo, we won Fallen of Albaz, dedicating the 3 branded fusions. It's, like a 4-card splash package, if that, in the main deck. And you have access to the 4 dragons. I guess consistency is absolutely easy to access out here. I do love when you can get the chance to see ease of use like that. All right, what else we got back here? Pushing on into top 8, we have our Centurion Melodious deck. Now, I'm going to be honest with you here. When I first saw this, I was like, how? How are we doing this? Because you're Oceanatos, the full Centurion line, we don't have bonfires in here, which kind of wish I could actually see. So you're easily able to put, maybe Exceed the Pendulum. We have the Appaloosa. We can Calamity Lock the opponent, obviously, because we have access to the big things. This is just an interesting cluster pile of ideas that you can do, and I would love to see this show up more. This is honestly the first time I've seen the splash of Melodious built into this deck, and I do hope maybe more people will give this some consideration. This is freaking cool. This is the kind of stuff that you want to see in terms of engine splashability out here. All right, next up here we have our Chimera good stuff. And yes, we are playing the Diablaze in here. I do like the Diablaze in this deck. I think the card is very good for the illusion stuff. But this also has the fully built Fallen of Albaz package in here as well, which means, we'll get access to the branded fusion, and it just ensures that, you can continuously rotate through those fusions so you can do your thing. Only downside of this deck is you horribly died a dimensional barrier, and it is a terrible time. This deck also has the Dark Magician built in, so you can play the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon as well. Thank you, competitive boss monster, at your finest. Also only 2 Nightmare Apprentice. I think that's fine. This build's already sitting on 50 cards, so you're going to be toggling very rapidly through some of these options. And also, every hand's going to be a different combo, I feel like. And that's going to be a very important thing to kind of understand when you're playing a deck with this many directional skill trees. Every hand's not going to be the same. Next up is our Runic Duelist. Oh, man. We played a mono, a Watto. That is so very interesting, but, you have the dimensional fissures built into this. You have the 1 of card scanner. Desires has been cut down to 1. We're only playing the 1 time-turning Morganite, but to be honest with you, in the current iteration of things, I don't know if you can fully afford to dedicate the other slots. We do have the There Can Only Be One. You also have the Rivalry in here. Pretty easy stuff. You have the Lava Golems, and then, of course, the Good Time card down there. We also do see Trap Trick for Dimensional Barrier as well. So it's going to be a case of, you can hit the barrier, cancel out a OTK turn from your opponent, and then use the rest of, this deck to kind of help you out so you can do your thing. And I actually do kind of like that. That's actually pretty saucy. But outside of that, it's very simple runic stuff. Not a lot of craziness besides ratios. Oh, and then our last deck here is more Tenpai Gas, Gas, Gas. I see that this duelist is playing the Ray Sloth and the Unicorn. Okay, sure. We also have the Promethean Princess, the Doolittle Chimera as well. It's kind of something I've been seeing a little bit more. We do have the Meteor Burst and the Koi Belt. This build is not playing the very, very cute Samurai Destroyer, which is kind of sad. We are sighting the Magna with the Druisworm, and we also have the Quankymera Draco down there. I do like the Draco a lot. I think that card's pretty cute. And then, of course, we have Shifters and the D Crows, all the standard hand traps that you're all used to seeing. Interesting. So what do you guys think? Please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.